That little girl just gave the first class. I mean, you cannot blame her in that case for messing up the wedding. She did what she was supposed to do because she found the first class. Of course, thanks to our very many connections. Now we're going to stay on in the world of marriage because our counselor is here with us. Remember, he is the author of this very beautiful book. It is called Before You Say I Do. Am I correct?
Absolutely right.
Thanks for coming, Pastor Tato Kene.
I'm so grateful to be here again
I
tonight.
love your dress, man.
Oh, really? Thanks a lot.
It's cool for the start of the week.
Thank you very much.
Shows a lot of chastity and sanity, and well, it's white, right?
Oh my. Thanks for the compliment.
It's a pleasure to have you here once again. A lot of people have been
Mine
sending
too.
us feedback and saying that your advices have been worthy of it.
Wow. Actually, a couple of persons have gotten to me to actually say that it's good to have that feedback.
Right.
Yeah.
It means you're creating an impact, simply put. Now, let me just take you down to the bone of our contention this morning. We're going to be looking at the downsides of premarital sex. Are you comfortable discussing this?
Premarital sex, yeah, it is a very important aspect of our daily life, let alone relating to marriage. So
Right.
it's something to really talk about without blinking the eye.
So what's premarital sex? I have a trap in that question though.
Okay.
What's premarital sex?
I think premarital sex simply refers to sex before you get married.
Okay.
It could be to the person you are to marry or some other person. So before you get married, you're involved in sexual intercourse. That's premarital sex.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the other word, especially the biblical language for this, fornication.
Yes.
It's called fornication.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is the trap I have hidden in that question. I have done everything I'm supposed to do. I've done the knock doors, to put it the Cameroonian way, right?
Yeah.
I've been to the mayor's place, and I've had the documents all signed.
Yeah.
I can just take my wife and go home now and make love to her. Is that fornication?
It's fornication. It's premarital sex.
That's where we're just going to be exchanging verbal blows now. I am married, Pastor.
Yeah.
How am I fornicating?
I think it was the last edition of the program. We talked a bit on the scopes of marriage. We said it begins with the traditional marriage, then the civil marriage, and ultimately the marriage has to be solemnized. The spiritual platform. It could be just a church blessing or a full-blown white wedding.
Okay.
That is where it ends. God is the author of marriage, and it is actually important to do things God's way. You know, we have this concept of people getting married traditionally. After 5 years, they go to sign, and then after some other 5 or 10 years, they go to.
They come to church.
Why do it at all? Even
They've been fornicating for 10 years.
for 10 years,
But
it is.
these guys,
is-
they'll tell you they have a ring, they have the documents to prove that they're married.
The issue is, if you, let me take an example from the phones we use. We have smartphones with a lot of functions, and we use just a meager portion of the functions that our phones have. It is the same thing. Marriage is something that has a manual, and the manual is God's manual. That's doing it God's way. Because God is the author of marriage. So to do it God's way, you should do it, in a wholesome manner. It's not to pick up items from what you want to do and remain with it. I think what makes people at times to justify themselves is this mindset of wanting to do a full-fledged wedding with a lot of pomp and style and spend a lot of money, of which such a marriage is not in any way superior to a marriage blessing that maybe during a church service it was just blessed. It is not, because the key point in the spiritual aspect is when the vows are being exchanged before God and the church, and the blessings that are proclaimed on the couple. So it is not something to put yourselves under pressure in order to do something that will attract a lot of attention. It's just a wedding.
Right.
The marriage proper is lived in the course of the lifetime of the couple.
Oh yeah, that's true. I can imagine a couple of you out there watching us and saying, nah, I don't want to hear that kind of talk. And I think some of these people will be guys who are not Christians. Will you, in that case, call their premarital sex fornication?
It is fornication committed by whoever. The issue is that the challenge will be somebody who is a non-Christian. That is his or her lifestyle. Okay. So it will not be any. There will not be any much to talk about. But when it's a Christian, it means the Christian actually derailed from his or her identity to live some other thing else. Okay. So it's your identity to live in sin when you are not a Christian. It is a part of your daily life. Right. Though there are some people who incorporate some morality, but it's just an aspect.
I was actually looking at your book last night, Pastor, and it's on page 58, right? Premarital sex. No, it's actually on page 59. 59. Even though on the content it says page 58. Now, here's a question. You say all of the sugar coating around it is born of haste.
Actually,
people sugar coat fornication. They can call it different names, just like I was struggling to defend it before you. That's sugar coating. But then you say it is still fornication. But then, should I take a wife? Should I take a woman I'm going to get married to and not taste them before getting married? I need to know that this thing is what I want. I hope the children are not around you, please. I'm sorry. Right? Get them out of context now for about 5 more minutes.
That is actually a problem we have in society today, this aspect of testing to know, because I don't think getting married to somebody, is a question of testing, because you can taste, the taste you have today may not be the same thing you have the next minute. For instance, we've had cases of people who insisted that their wife must deliver before they tie the knot. You must get pregnant before they tie the knot. Finally, let's take for granted the woman gets pregnant, gives birth to a child. Then on the basis of that, you marry the person, and God forbid the child passes away and you can't have another child. How do you reconcile that, that desire of yours with the reality you find you are living in? So marriage is of God. When you marry with good intentions, the tendency of God blessing your marriage, the tendency is very high. And what I say often is that at times I encourage women not to sell themselves too cheap to a man. That a man promise you marriage does not give you the license to already open up to the person and having intercourse with the person, because we have various risks that are linked to this premarital sex. One, it can lead to unwanted pregnancy. It can lead to pregnancy and the man jilts you after you get pregnant.
All right.
Because a promise to marry is not marriage.
Okay.
If marriages break, what about an engagement or a courtship? It is nothing too serious to weep over. And then another case, before people settle in marriage, we always try to encourage them to go through premarital health screening. The reason being that in the course of it, there are many things to ascertain.
That's a new one I'm hearing. Premarital health screening?
Yes, they are supposed to do a lot of tests for the genotype, for sexually transmissible infections, and blood groups and what have you. Okay. So if you get involved in sexual activity with somebody you are yet to marry and somebody you've not done this screening with, there is a risk of having these sexually transmissible infections. Could be gonorrhea, syphilis, HIV, and other complications. So when this health screening is done, all of these things are put in check. Where medical intervention is needed, it is brought about. And at times, on the basis of the incompatibility, where they see the risk of sickle cell anemia for the offspring, there are people who have decided to break up the engagement. Okay. And go their ways, because they look at how difficult it's going to be for them to maintain children who are suffering from sickle cell anemia and all those other forms of complications.
So let's come down to earth. Here we say they know the buy fowl for Kenja. You could take someone home, and because you didn't do that premarital sex before You go find out that no for that. You come out of this, you stay with that person because this was disallowed by the Bible.
No, I think in such an event, it is there's premarital hair screening that is done. So yeah, the doctor will not be too wicked to say this person is not, because there are other some of the tests that are done which have to do with checking the genitals and all
that. If you go
that.
through the premarital health screening and the doctor fails to reveal that kind of information to you, I imagine what could happen. You just carry a machete.
You see, what we do often is that we usually discourage in premarital counseling. We discourage people from let the man not be the one to choose where the screening will be done, or the woman. Often, like in my case, I have a doctor that I often recommend. I don't impose. I recommend that go to this person. Who, after, there may be some things the doctor may not be able to discuss with the couple to be, that can talk with me, and we see how to handle that from it. And this issue of premarital sex is a very delicate issue, because we have people who have, before they get married to somebody, they have slept with A, with B, with C, with D, and what have you.
Testing.
In fact, and testing. And some people today, men especially today, decide to, blindfold women with promises to marry so that they can test, as we say, which is a very bad practice. That's demonic.
But truly speaking, there are a couple of, real and genuine engagements that have collapsed because one of the partners refused to taste.
Yes, for me, I will really congratulate the partner who refused the testing, because there are issues. Let me take an example.
Okay.
If you taste and finally you don't get married to the person, when two people have a sexual intercourse, there is a hormone that is released called oxytocin. This hormone is accountable for bonding. That is, it makes the people some sort of bonding, some sort of oneness. And the way God created this sex issue, it is a mystery. And He made the woman to have the vagina of the woman is covered by what you call the hymen, which is broken when the woman is being disvirgined. And in it, there is, that is the general rule. There may be a few exceptions that if the hymen is broken before that. And there is a little drop of blood, which is some sort of covenant sealing the marriage.
Okay.
A covenant, to sealing the marriage. And even our legal systems have gotten to know the importance of sex, such that if you get married to somebody and you can't consummate the marriage on the basis of in bed, it gives basis for the marriage to the partner who has not been engaged in the act of consummation to sue for divorce.
Okay, now let's take a technical break. You're not going away, right? It's getting very interesting here. Let's take a very short break, just to give you time to breathe and watch something else. We'll be back, and we'll just be wrapping up with our marriage counselor when we do that. Stay on with us.